Hello, guys, and welcome back. We hope you enjoyed the talk show because we have some Dota to actually watch. It's SG Sports Unknown, the grand final of the SA Close Qualifiers, now actually underway. We finally stopped the players. I mean, they were being held back by our podcast. We usually do. We know we tie them up and they can't really go into the game, but we decided it was time for them to actually play some Dota so you guys can enjoy them. So, as the draft gets started, any predictions to start us off? Moxie first?
Hoodwink. I think we're gonna see a
No,
hoodwink.
I meant overall for the series, but okay, that's pretty solid.
I'm being very specific right now. Avo, I'm on fire today. Excuse me. Like I've been on fire for all the qualifiers with a lot of my guesses that I've been like putting out there. But you mean how many games, sort of thing? Like
Yeah, how many games? Any team you favor? Honestly, I'm pretty lax with the predictions. Whatever you want to throw out there.
fair enough. I think Unknown is going to definitely put up a good showing, but I think at the end of the day, SG is just looking really, really polished. I think they are going to be the ones who are headed to TI.
Yeah, to follow up on the Hoodwink, it's going to be about archers this game. Both Hoodwink and Marana. Marana for SG Esports. Unknown likes the Hoodwink a lot. How they compare? It doesn't matter. It's a video game. It's just a little bit of digital stuff. They're no different than other heroes, guys. Archer theme is not real. Everything I said is not worth it. I'm sorry,
Marana,
I'm too weird right now.
Marana
Oh, wow.
I don't understand though. Like she has a bow, but it looks like she throws her arrow, right? It's like a spear.
It's an early. I mean,
feel like
Hunters,
SG heard
maybe?
you.
It's an early animation. It's hard to fix at this point. You can't go back.
Yeah, that's true actually. SG seems offended, so they picked the Marana to prove you wrong. They think the Marana is the better archer. Will Unknown now pick Hoodwink? And now will this be the two battles at once, the Battle of the Archers and also the Battle for South America? Because Hoodwink Dragon Knight, to me, I think is a more solid start than the Marana Axe. I absolutely love this combo. I think it's one of the most solid starts you can get in general in the current meta.
I don't know. I just feel like the Marana has a lot of value. I've been really impressed so far across this region, just how effectively everybody plays Marana 4. They solidify laning stages. They set up ganks very effectively. They don't need to use like easy, obvious setups. They just land disables with like small things here and there to make the hero just look so much better than it would be otherwise. And then it transitions really nicely, itemization wise. So whether it's Spirit Vessel, fast duels, whatever else. So it makes a lot of sense that Spectre early here. A Spectre pick in the first phase. A little early.
Wow.
Wait, before we move on.
This is actually... Sorry, go ahead.
I have a question for you, Avo. How many couriers, and for you too, Purge, how many couriers is Theola Core going to snipe this game?
Oh.
Because he got like 6, I think, in one of the games that we were casting. This guy is a menace.
He usually gets like 2 per laning stage at least, so it's got to be at least like, say 3.36 per game
Purge.
for the grand finals. So if we do the math on that, that would be what, 16 total couriers sniped?
I was talking about just this one game, and we didn't have to go into percentages.
Oh, that's okay.
Sir, please.
I wanted to bring it to percentages. It's very important to me.
Give me a number. Both of you, give me a number. No
3.
percentages. 3. Okay, what about you, Avo?
I'll say 4.
Okay, I'm writing these down, actually.
Okay. I was about to, we were about to get into a patch analysis there for you, Purge. I was very excited for that.
Sorry.
So what do you think of the Spectre pick here with a DK? It's a very early Spectre pick. They did beat Infinity with this, and actually when we interviewed Unknown, they actually spoke to us and said that they consider the Terrorblade Luna Medusa trifecta, but Infinity showed them that Spectre was actually a bit stronger and had a really good matchup against particularly 2 of those heroes. So are you sold on this first pick Spectre because of its high value?
I mean, it wins games sometimes for sure. It's an excellent late game carry behind those other 2 usually, but it has some issues sometimes. It doesn't farm extremely fast. Its impact in team fights isn't really realized until like mid game at the earliest, usually outside of like throwing a dagger for a kill. So it's more like, can your team create the space that you don't get super far behind, and Spectre can eventually become the late game carry. And sometimes it just feels safer to do, because then you're just going even until the late game, then you're definitely going to win. So there's good and bad things about it. In lane, it doesn't really, like, Spectre feels like offensively she doesn't do much in lane at all. So knowing what her opponent's dual lane is already is really helpful. They can't, I mean, obviously you could put X carry, I guess, and change something up, and maybe, who knows, maybe it like really punishes Spectre. But I feel like knowing the likely dual off lane right now, Spectre seems fine. She'll be okay. She'll be pressured. Probably won't die. There's not going to be like an axe call into Marana arrow. Unlikely. It's unlikely to land. So It should be fine here for Unknown, and at least they know they have late game secured.
What picks could we see to try to deal with the Spectre here? What would you like to see here? Because they took away one of the main breaks, actually two of the main breaks, the Viper and the Hoodwink. Well, there's the answer.
Yep, that's a really
Third
good
break.
one. Doom him before he uses Dagger, and he's basically useless in team fights. By Ags later on, then you have a great solution. It'll increase your Doom duration as well, as the way that it works right now, plus the break. So very good option there. And yeah, it's definitely going to farm really fast, and you can use that net worth to set really good tempo against the enemy team. So even though Spectre is going to be in a decent net worth state, you can crush the rest of the team in the intermediate fights.
What's your belief on the 4DR Doom, Moxxi?
I believe we've seen him play it before. The only thing that I get a little concerned about whenever I see Doom in that mid lane is that you get all of this net worth, right? You get it pretty rapidly, but you have to be intelligent in the way that you're using it because, again, you've got Devour, you've got the Midas. You need to be active, though, at the same time. You need to make sure that, you're putting the damper down, you're in the right position at the right time as well. That's my only concern, but I think paired up with something like an Axe and a Mirana also on the team, now with the Phoenix for the massive amount of team fight, I think this draft is shaping up to be a much more comfortable looking Doom game because you're going to have a little bit more space with the two, just the Axe and the Mirana alone, not to mention, the Phoenix, because I'm interested to see if they might put the Phoenix with the Axe just because of the idea where they put the Battle Hunger out and then you do the Flame Spirits and you can't get rid of it as easily. But of course, you do have an Oracle, so perhaps not.
That's a cool idea, but yeah, what were we gonna say?
I was gonna say, it seems like a very free Phoenix game right now, especially with a Kunkka pick. You don't really have any egg hitters here.
It used to be Oracle, dude. You could buy like one Gloves of Haste, and you'd just be like focus firing somebody. It's gone now, though. They nerfed the crap out of that.
Yeah. Do you remember in Dota 1 where the hero got introduced and everyone, like, there's all these abilities, but everyone's like, oh, less than 1.7 PAT, must build Maelstrom. The hero's built to be a carry. That was nasty. I hate people in Dota 1, man. People were not fun to play with. Sapphire immediately banned, of course.
It was the Wild West in Dota 1. It truly was. There was some weird shit always happening.
What do you pick here as a Phoenix hitter here since the Snapfire is gone?
Do they need a Phoenix hitter is my question. I think Phoenix's value here, obviously Egg is amazing, and being able to kill it would be excellent, but they can protect it decently well. Mirana Arrow, Axe Call, Doom War Stomp, they have some solutions there. I feel like Phoenix's value also comes a lot from Sunray this game. Axe Call into Arrow with Sunray, Doom initiating a guy with Sunray, it's like the heals and the damage is going to be huge. Obviously Egg is a big deal, and Kunkka is going to give your team some team fight to help offset that a bit, but I mean, they have the 3 cores already. It's Kunkka, Spectre, Dragonite. So what are we talking, like a 4 maybe? Mirana's the most obvious 4. That's good at hitting Egg. Snapfire's the second most obvious. What? I don't know if there's any left. So maybe the option is just dodge team fights a little bit or try to get pickoffs. You need something that combos with Dragonite as well. Like DK looks kind of ass here. Like there's no Mirana type follow up after he blinks on somebody. It's Kunkka, I guess, but Oracle's going to be sitting behind defensively, so you need like somebody to follow up. I think Pudge is gonna be the pick. That's definitely gonna be it.
I have a question because you have some of these heroes that are flex over on the side of Unknown. Is it possible that they shift these heroes around? They run Kunkka as a support and then use an Invoker, something to help buff up the Spectre, something that'll be able to put Alacrity down to hit the Egg. I mean, it's greedy, but
I think it's unlikely.
I don't know. I don't love the Kunkka 4.
Like they might put Kunkka as 3, for example. VP was doing it a lot, and then put DK mid. That would be the most obvious thing potentially, but yeah, I don't really see Kunkka support hasn't really been a thing in a really long time. X has been buffed for that if you do want to go that route lately, but I'd just be really surprised. His base stats just aren't that fantastic. That's worth doing.
On Purge's line of thought, if you picked up a Tusk here, no, because that's an egg hitter.
There's the other.
You could have gone for like the avoidance route. I agree with your point, Purge, though, that I don't think Lena's gonna get a chance to hit that egg. You only have to deal with Lena right now. Maybe the Oracle, so you're gonna catch her every single time.
10 seconds remaining.
She's a decent way to give them follow up though, either by X combo or DK going in first. If she gets Aether Lens, assuming she doesn't get caught, of course, but. There's a lot of frontliners on our team. Kunkka, Spectre, Dragonite are all going to be running at their opponents pretty consistently. So if she can sit in the back and not get caught, then it'll be fine. If SG gets a mid hero or a core here, or a carry that is good at diving backlines, and Lena's gonna have to. It's gonna have a much harder game, and I think it's gonna hurt a lot of the team fight cohesion that Unknown is going for. So this last pick for SG will certainly change how I feel about this. But Unknown's lineup looks okay, but their single target burst is not that extreme against all these tanky strength heroes. So they've got stuns and catch and counterplay with Oracle, but they're gonna have to play like long team fights to get engagement wins, I feel like.
What are some classic picks we could see here, Moxxi? Assuming the Axe is going to be playing the offlane, because I haven't really seen Costa Vila played it as a carry. Is there anything that stands out from Costa Vila's pool that you could like to see here?
I'm not sure. I mean, we've been seeing, Troll has been getting picked up. That seems to be pretty popular. It's pretty tempo. And I believe it's still open in the pool. I'm not sure what I want to see. I just want to see something that's going to be playing faster than the Spectre, right? Because it definitely feels like, Unknown right now, they've got a very powerful draft once the Spectre comes online, becomes unlocked. I don't know. What do you think, Purge? What would look good here for the position 1?
Hypothetically, something like Jug could work in the sense that he doesn't have to worry about X combo. You can interrupt other stuns. That would be okay. Healing Ward would be good with tanky HP heroes, but Jug is not necessarily the best. Something that builds BKB, Lifestealer maybe, and Leshrac, the standard carry.
Oh, okay.
But what it does is it gives them the ability to hit
carry.
towers.
Okay.
They get to hit buildings basically. With Diabolic Edict, this will allow them to push the tempo up and to actually pressure their opponents. Has anybody seen Arcana Spectre yet?
No, not yet.
Asking the important questions.
Look, I don't have it either, but why hasn't anyone else done it? Somebody do this for me. Dang it.
The X carry will do the tempo you're talking about though, Moxxi, so that helps you, right? Once you get hit minute 20 or so, you're pretty fast. I'm still a bit surprised of a Lesh pick against Spectre, because usually you go Blade Mail and Lesh cries blood, so it doesn't just feels like there's that point to be made, but I agree with the tempo points that you guys are saying. Seeing these two drafts towards the end, what would you guys like, or who are you guys favoring? Purge?
The Lesh is a little dangerous for the reasons you mentioned, but if he gets BKB, it's prevented while his BKB is active, at least. I guess I just have more faith in what SG are doing. Maybe their draft, but if it goes late, Unknown's going to win for sure with the Spectre and their generic stuns and their general counterplay, I feel like. But SG might just run over the lanes.
Moxxi?
SG's hungry. Like, I know both of these teams are extremely hungry. They both want to go. But what I've been seeing in the last couple of days coming out from SG has just been like they're on turbo or something like that. So I have faith in that they can play this draft quick enough so that way Pakaz does not get the space that he needs to become that threat that is potentially catastrophic for them. So I'm going to go with SG.
Okay. We'll see if our panel's correct. And SG managed to take the first game of the series. They're the team coming from the upper bracket, so they're looking quite good. But Unknown, coming as we say in Spanish, empilados. They know they want to win this series. They are excited, and they're also hungry for more wins after beating Infinity 2-0. To narrate this wonderful first encounter of the Grand Finals, we have the incredible Moxxi and the great... Sorry, no, that's not enough. Fantastic Purge.
Oh, thank you.
You gotta give credit where credit is due, right? Here, I thought he was gonna be cheeky and he was gonna be like, the incredible Moxxi and the, Purge. But no, I was too nice for that.
That would be rude. He would never do that. If he did that, I would take away the kisses on the cheek when I meet him someday.
Oh no, you can't take that from him. It's his culture.
He's rude to me. That's what happens. Gotta set boundaries to rude people.
That is true. You do absolutely have to do that. All right,
Let's take a look at these beautiful lanes. Dragonite plus Lina. So it's off lane DK this game. They're doing mid Kunkka and safe lane Spectre. And then nothing really too weird on the other lane. Doom off lane. Carry Axe, which is pretty common, and Lesh mid. So Lesh just at tempo. The Doom against the Spectre is a bit interesting. It doesn't really pressure super hard, but it will be able to farm really fast. But it also likely won't die. I feel like Doom against Oracle is not too scary, I guess, once he gets at least one regen item. So I don't know. It looks like the early game laning stage might be interesting.
The one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, because I've seen this in the past when we've had the Oracle picked up, especially on the side of Unknown, is that the positioning is very, very important. Like they need to make sure that they can grab this Oracle so he can't get his spells off. And I think that's a little bit more difficult for the draft that SG has because, granted, you are going to have an Axe who has a blink. He's going to be looking for the people who are most likely more towards the front. How do you think that they best deal with the Oracle? I guess is my question, Purge.
It's a good point. If they have a Storm Spirit, Ember Spirit, whatever Spectre type hero, it's easier to find the Oracle in the back of the team fight and put pressure on him. But Leshrac is not that mobile. Axes would love to jump on these guys, but as Axe carry, usually your goal is to just blow up somebody that's supposed to be tanky with the Blink Call Manta build with the shard. So you just do so much overall main damage, you get kills. Oracle's going to counterplay that. That's going to make things a lot harder because then usually after Axe initiates, if he doesn't get a chop off, he's pretty darn slow by any disables. So he ends up getting slowed down, eventually killed. So the counterplay is get vision first, certainly. You can abuse Moonlight Shadow. That's one way to give yourself a vision advantage. Then you catch people or chain stun them more effectively or kill them faster than normal. Or you could use Sacred Arrow potentially to also scout it out. So they have some ways, but it's not going to feel great. Ward advantage obviously is a big thing. So yeah, there's options, but it's definitely not going to be simple. If Oracle plays really well, he can really well offset what Axe does initiation wise, or offset Doom as well.
And another thing too is that these two together, the Oracle and the Spectre, will probably be with each other pretty much all the time, the way that they've played this combination before. So it's going to be very difficult for them to try to get some of these ganks off. It's going to be very important, again, that they take down this Oracle ahead of time. But usually, Oracle lurking in the tree line, Angel Kaz will be, hitting the camps, and they will be very aware that the Spectre is going to need time to, escalate, is going to need time to farm up. So be interested to see how they try to deal with that. For sure. We are having another DC. Oh, geez.
A couple disconnects, no big deal. Normal stuff over
Classic
here.
SA.
I think what's going to be more interesting is how Unknown tries to deal with the early push from Leshrac. I think they have some of the right tools, right? Because Leshrac is not that tanky in the early game. He just shreds towers. So all you need to do is do a show of force where you bring your heroes over and you kill him or zone him out of the lane. And having so many stuns like they do is a really good solution. Lena stun is great. Dragon Knight stun is great. Kunkka disables are great too. So they can kill Leshrac by all means. And if he just makes a mistake like getting X'd and they TP in 2 heroes and they chain stun him, that would also be really tough for them to deal with because they don't have much counterplay themselves other than Sunray. And Sunray being a percentage of max heal, that means Leshrac's not going to get that much in the early game. So, Leshrac, if he has a good lane and starts taking towers, it's going to allow SG to invade effectively, get vision down, doom the right targets, force good team fights, and control Roshan if possible.
Now, is there the potential to do a bit of baiting here? So, like you just said, if the Leshrac starts going after the towers, obviously you need a force majeure to just show up of a lot of, the heroes on the side of Unknown. But when you do that and you have this information, you can see, X amount of heroes showing up to try to deal with the Leshrac, plus, maybe one. Is that the time then that you would see SG try to invade and try to put pressure over on the Spectre?
You could potentially, yes, but until Axe gets Blink Dagger or there's like a blink on Doom or they find a way to get on a Spectre, it's going to be a little bit hard, basically. Like killing Spec is not super easy for their lineup, I don't think. Is definitely one of the issues with them. Like they have it, obviously Axe Shard with Manta is like kind of insane single target damage wise, but they have some issues on a single target DPS. Diabolic Edict is pretty darn good. Obviously, Lesh does so much AoE damage that it feels like enough single target. And yeah, you could land like Mirana Arrow and Starstorm and stuff, but like a semi-tanky Spectre in the mid game is going to have some issues unless they get Ags on Doom to break his passive off. So that could absolutely be an issue. So even if you do see a lot of heroes on the enemy side of the map, are you going to have enough resources to collapse and kill and pressure Spectre when you find him there? And it's tough, especially if you're lacking some of that damage and Oracle's nearby. He could cast either Fate's Edict or his ulti and basically just ensure that Spectre is going to live. So that lack of single target damage on the SG side is something that's going to be scary because it's hard to continue to scale against somebody like Spectre, the tankiest carry in the game, who excels at just continuing to buy items and being difficult to kill raw damage wise without him killing you first.
This is actually such a good point too when we're talking about the Oracle that a lot of people tend to forget is that Fate's Edict actually gives you the 100% magic damage resistance. So when you have something like a Leshreck that's going to be, trying to run and hunt your heroes down, you can just throw that out and potentially negate a lot of that. So
Mhm.
a lot of pressure is going to be placed on this Oracle, but it was a very value pick considering what they have coming out over on the side of SG.
Yeah, I don't think they should be that scared. Axe carry, as we saw at the major, was extremely valuable. As long as you get it
Right.
off to a decent start and you get Vanguard at a decent timing, then you just leave the lane pretty early and then you farm the jungle extremely fast, faster than any other person can farm right now. So the net worth levels that Axes have been able to achieve are pretty ludicrous. Your ability to clear stacks early is just so good. Maybe Unknown can do some stuff to like go hang out nearby. Like Lena could follow him around, sap some experience, slow him down. Maybe in the laning stage they'll be able to get a lot of harassing. It's going to make Axe's life a lot harder. But to delay his Vanguard and thus his jungling. But we'll see.
I'll be very interested to see the way that they play with this X because it feels almost like they've got this sort of like turbo style draft in terms of the side of SG with their cores, right? Because you've got Tavo on the Doom. Doom farms exceptionally quickly. Once he gets the Midas, he's got Devour. Then of course you have Axe, who's known to be one of the fastest, jungling sort of heroes in the game, being able to get a fast blink or Vanguard or whatnot. How do they potentially slow this down over on the side of Unknown? You do have, a Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight can be that very tanky person up front. You've got kind of a nice kill lane set up too when you consider the fact that you've got the LSA to follow up with the Dragon Tail. But how do they kind of slow the tempo of this game if they are able to just farm so quickly, other than, having Alina kind of follow the axe around, try to sap some XP or whatnot?
The best way is to delay his Vanguard, kill him in lane if possible. It's not easy, but it's definitely possible. If you delay his Vanguard, then he doesn't become invulnerable in the jungle, and then him jungling is a little bit of a drain on resources. So if you can pressure him in the lane, that's a great solution. Um, Once it gets to the other thing is that even if he does leave the lane to go jungle, take his tower. Dragon Knight's gonna be able to do that. It's in some ways a counter. Because he's so good at jungling, well, we're just gonna blast through your tower so fast that's gonna force your other heroes to react. So even if it's not Axe coming back to lane, it could be like Doom having to teleport there earlier than normal. And then because Doom goes to the safe lane to defend against the Dragon Knight pressure, he's no longer pressuring Spectre. So by pressuring the tower that Axe is leaving, it creates space for your Spectre, who's ultimately the guy you want to be farmed anyway. So there's options that could become map movement or other things. So yeah, there's ways to beat it, but it might just be hard for now.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good. We're just theory crafting here, just trying to come up with our own, flow chart of if this hero does this and then this. It's fun to kind of figure out. But of course, we won't know exactly what's going to happen until it actually does. We are, of course, waiting on one other player. They are playing on Peru for this first game, guys, and so the Brazilians typically tend to have a little bit of a disadvantage in terms of ping. So they're trying to sort that out now. We did just lose Tavo now too, so yeah, buckle in. Classic SA Dota stuff. I'm pretty sure this is just good luck in general for everyone involved because that's typically what we've seen in the past with SA. There's usually at least one or two disconnects. As long as, knock on wood, we don't end up having to do any more remakes because that was an issue with all the patches coming out the other day. We should be fine. I'm looking forward to this though. Absolutely.
Yeah, the 20 minutes in, got to remake the game. Remakes were not fun to experience, but
No.
maybe it'll work out well. Using only other thing I'm noticing that's kind of interesting, a lot of sentries on the dire side for Unknown, so lots of camp blocking probably, or to make sure that Mirana can't land arrows and keep accelerating. That's pretty consistently how Miranas have seen value in the laning stage. Even if you're not likely to get a kill threat, you always guarantee the range creep gets last hit. You kill catapults to limit your opponent's pushes as well, so it just guarantees your levels come through at a good pace, and then you provide some kill threat on the map, which is always very valuable. Little battles there,
I'm
but I can't
curious
wait to
too
see how the
because
game
we
goes.
know in the past with SG, especially when Theolacor is playing the Marana, he tends to drop wards in very specific situations. There's two ward spots that he really likes. There's one that's over top towards the tree line, and then there's one that's a little bit further down over near the stairs area, so he can keep tabs on when the couriers are coming through. So I wonder too, with the pickup of those sentries, perhaps that's what they're anticipating as well. thinking, okay, he's going to try to go for our couriers. We've watched him do this in every single game, and he has done it in pretty much every single game. So perhaps they just want to be prepared in that manner as well, because it's going to be very difficult for Spectre if she doesn't have those early items to kind of help get her set up well.
It's a really big deal, actually. And that's one of the advantages of having Doom here against Spectre is that Spectre with items right now, looking at her inventory, she's got 49 plus 2 damage, plus a Quelling Blade, so she's hitting for just under 50 damage. Tavo has not bought items yet, guys, and he's got 63 damage on average. So he's got a huge damage advantage here. If you do snipe couriers, prevent Spectre from getting that Band of Elven skin, which would be a 6 damage boost, then it's a lot easier for Doom to just plant his butt in the lane and continue to deny Spectre while accelerating his own farm. So that is one nice matchup advantage there. Classically, to counter carries that had low damage, people would rely on heroes like Centaur, but Doom works functionally really well too in this like a last hit competition. So yeah.
So is this the potential? Because I know when Tavo plays as Doom, he tends to go a little greedy. Honestly, he likes to sit in the lane, especially if he's not getting bothered. Just continue to farm up. Is this something where he's just going to stay in the lane, and then have the rotations come to him? Where we might see the Leshreck make that early rotation to help try to close off the jungle, or do you think he's going to get a bit active?
You can be active on Doom for sure, but pretty much everybody goes very passive right now. So rather than, it's more like, yeah, rotations might come to him, but he's basically going to prioritize his farm. He'll want to put his hero in lanes where Spectre is there, because ideally you can out harass Spectre if you're in like a 1v1 situation that forces Oracle to be there. But there might be times as well where they don't want to defend the safe lane tower and they'll TP Doom there instead. So if Axe leaves his safe lane to go jungle to accelerate to clear like ancient stacks and things like that Marauders has been stacking, then Tabo would go to their most vulnerable tower, possibly with a hood. Unlikely, because most Dooms have. Well, it's actually more likely this game. Doom mids are much more likely to buy a Midas right away, but a Doom offlane, they might say, hey, we need more survivability instead, so that somebody can frontline and defend towers, because they don't have much counterplay right now. They might need one really tanky guy to defend that isn't Axe, because ideally Axe is getting ahead and not trying to tank ganks or limit tower destruction. So the place that Doom plays is going to depend on how well the laning stage goes, and depending on what's needed by his team. If they're doing well and getting kills successfully repeatedly, then they won't need to worry as much about defending their towers, because it's going to happen naturally when their tanky core or farmed cores push out lanes. So his gameplay will be variable depending on the circumstance, but they're definitely going to move a lot of heroes around where Leshrac goes with Diabolic Edict levels, because that's how they take towers. They're going to have to show a lot of heroes to do this, ideally with Phoenix and maybe Mirana, and basically everybody but Axe most likely will show up to these pushes, and sometimes Axe will too.
What do you think the over under is with Tavo picking up the Midas? Because again, knowing Tavo, I think he's going to go the more greedier route. But like you said, there are the situations where it's better for him to get something that's going to allow him to be more tanky, allow him to be more frontlining early, because of the fact that Constabulate is of course the core, and you have to be very careful that he doesn't get blown up if he's main initiating.
I think it's very likely that he buys a Midas. But with that said, there is a pretty good amount of magic damage on the enemy team. Lina, Kunkka, Oracle, it's a decent amount of magic damage over time. So something like a hood could be really effective. But I also have a hard time like looking at the unknown lineup and not thinking like, okay, they don't have a conventional carry, so you have to worry about Spectre. So you're gonna either try to skip Midas to hit this like crazy time where you push really hard, or you try to match their net worth with an item like Midas to stay ahead. And I think that's just much more likely right now in the current meta, because it does take time to push out lanes, take tier 2 towers, and play for second Roshan. You can't really end the game so fast anymore that skipping Midas would be worth it. But maybe he delays it if he's having a rough game. But if he's having a good one, I wouldn't be surprised to either see a fast hood into a Midas with brown boots, or if he's having a really, really good game and doesn't feel the pressure, he'll just go Midas first like normal and pick up a phase boots and maybe a blink or a BKB next. They're all in the game for now.
Don't jinx it! Don't jinx it! Tavo keeps disconnecting. Oh, please, let's
Trying-
hope that we can get started. I know everyone is super excited, of course. This is a best of 5 grand finals to see who's going to TI. And for the first time ever, we're going to have 3 South American teams participating. Where it's going to be, we still have no idea, but it's going to be hype either way.
It's gonna be really exciting. I cannot wait to see what happens on TI at TI, especially how well the major went in terms of game performance. It was super hype all the time. So to see all the best teams in the world showing up, especially the culmination of the DPC seasons, it's gonna be great. And I had another thought as well. Like I was watching some of the qualifier games earlier, and I was thinking about like, oh, wildcard teams. Some of the teams that would qualify for TI in past years, they'd have to play just to make it into TI. All these guys that are qualifying are going straight in. They're playing the matches, and that's just super hype. So just makes everything feel so succinct and exciting. Someone's saying remake CM.
Yeah, the remake captain's mode, I think, is what our admin is saying in here. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. We'll wait to get
Technically,
some...
a slow thing to do captain's mode because then you have to like reban everything.
Yeah, when else you could just pick it.
But
I don't know if it has to
maybe
look that way on the ticket or...
maybe there's maybe there's a restriction like that.
Not sure. It looks like they're going to try to wait just a little bit longer, not have to do a full remake here. But yeah, I will definitely agree. You know, DPC has been amazing because of the fact that we've had all these really interesting storylines, and we actually have like a paper trail left behind on a lot of these teams because, you know, we're
Yeah.
looking at some of these the other teams that weren't necessarily top of their group but have really put in this effort, and all of a sudden they're showing up, or you know, you've got all these groups that, like, especially here in SA, you wouldn't have guessed that they'd be in the finals. I mean, I don't know how many people here believe that Unknown were going to be here in the grand finals, but they've had such a time being able to play with stability thanks to the DPC leagues and just studying other opponents, and just having a general structure, which I think is very exciting. So we'll have to see, but it looks like they're trying to play here.
Yeah, right off the bat, we're seeing a disadvantage of the servers. Tavo is spending a lot of time in base, feeling out the ping to feel if it feels right. And Unknown's gonna 5-man smoke into this area. We'll see if it matters.
Managed to find KJ over here. Tavo's backing off, so is 4DR. So they've already dropped a ward over here on the side too to block the ancients. They've got a definite plan.
This is the most important thing they can do because Mirana is a great ranged hero. She's really good at stacking both of the camps. If she can secure range creeps, Doom doesn't have to worry about contesting them, and then take walks back to stack the ancients and the large camp repeatedly, that's going to accelerate Axe so much faster when he gets the fast Vanguard and shifts to his jungle. If they slow this down, it's going to mean Axe carry doesn't feel nearly as good. Mirana doesn't get as much gold either. And there's that ward you're talking about.
There it
Mirana
is. I
puts it
told
down.
you. There's 2 different places that they like to place that ward, so it's already placed. And I'm sure they're going to be checking that out. But 3 runes picked up now here for Team Unknowns. They've got to be feeling pretty happy. And some pressure being placed over here on Sacred. We are seeing the battle hunger coming out first and foremost. And yeah, because they're laning that Oracle up top, they're going to be able to do this combo if they decide to, which is the Fire Spirits paired up here with that battle hunger. It'll be very hard for them to remove it.
Yeah, and they're just going to run at the Lina. Lina's the hero to beat up for sure. She's got more regen coming right now, a salve on the way, but if they just zone them from the creep wave right now, that's the best thing they can do. Mirana going for the first courier snipe of the game, but Oracle reads it a little bit here. Goes to spot out the Mirana, and that's going to allow him to bring back in his items. 2 more sentries coming for Oracle. He is not playing around with this battle for neutral camps. And he's already got the large camp block. It got dewarded by the Mirana. Oh, but luckily, Oracle, with that courier delivery, moves in time to block the large camp. So no extra gold going to Mirana here. So the battle of sentry wards in the laning stage for camp control is always so fun to watch. I'm sure you can agree.
For sure. You know, I am a support player. I do enjoy watching these things, watching where wards are being placed, as well as we already get the first blood here in the bottom lane. King Jungles does fall. Wish sitting very low himself, but they'll turn it right back around here over on Costabile. And we've talked about this. We've talked about how it's a kill lane coming out from the side of Unknown with the 2 stuns.
And the really
yes, I did
crucial
see
thing...
that sentry ward get taken down, Purge. Don't worry.
Okay,
Ooh, good arrow.
That was nice. The important thing is the Blightstone that Lena picked up. Phoenix has really low base armor, as you know, a big Phoenix spammer. So that -2 armor just increases their farm suit by so much. Or their damage when they go for these kills by a huge amount. So that's how they end up getting it. Lena gets a double stack off in the meantime. Good time spent there.
Battle in the mid lane going very nicely here. 4-4 DR so far, sitting at 12-2. Kunkka sitting at 8-1. You see these two supports on the top lane. Theolacor and Chesed are just plinking away at each other non-stop. You have a lot of couriers making their way over here on the side, but again, they've been pretty good about protecting them over on the side of Unknown. Although you can see Theolacor is making a beeline over now, hoping maybe he can get there just in time. And there are two right in front of him. 1, 2. He wants this last one.
I'm glad you didn't kill that second one, because I think he's on a path to get 3, not 4 couriers, and that definitely would have felt like the second and fourth couriers to die. Very
Then you'd
happy with
lose
it.
the bet with Avo. Avo
Exactly.
said 4. You only went with the 3 here.
Exactly. God, there's actually so many sentries that have been purchased in this laning stage here. Theolacor is going to get it in time, I think. Yep, okay, he does. So the large camp opens. He can arrow this for a little bit of gold if he wants. Then he's out of mana, but I really like the warding they've done so far for Unknown here to stabilize things. 16 last hits on Spectre, so he is happy with how things are going.
There's been an awful lot of harassment going on here in this bottom lane. You haven't seen Costabile really, getting a lot of CS here. He's sitting at 9-3 currently, because they have just kind of been trying to do this combination with Battle Hunger and then running over at Wiz. But they haven't been successful yet.
Yeah, they're both struggling a little bit, actually. Both the Dragonite and the Axe are just messing up each other's last hits all the time. Throwing the Dragonite stun. He got level 2 of it already, by the way. Ooh, this looks bad for Axe, actually.
Ticking down. He is going to try to chase after Wish here. Gets a nice spin, but again, does have to be careful. Still back off. Doesn't look like he's got the salve on him currently.
On the courier, this one coming. Oh, he's going to go for the kill on Lena.
Yeah, KJ, King Jungles, he wants this kill on Wish, but he doesn't quite have enough damage. Wish barely going to stay alive here with 80-something hit points. Stabile too has to be careful. He's sitting quite low here.
We're just going back to stack camps. So Battle Hunger is not going to kill him here. So
Oh my god, they got the courier again, Purge. The same items. The same items. He's been waiting for these for like 2 minutes now.
Oh, that's that snipe. It was probably a Band of Elvinskin looking at his current stuff. He's it's a chainmail as well, actually.
It's a chainmail too. Yeah, they're
Just a
slowing him
chainmail.
down quite a bit with this.
Okay, that's helping out. Doom picks up the toughness aura as well with his creep being eaten here. So his just got a lot of armor to stabilize this laning stage. He does have some stuff coming. Looks like a soul ring is what he's going to buy. Very interesting. Doom does have some mana issues these days with Devour and Scorched Earth spam, but a little surprised to see him pick it up so fast without buying a regen item just yet. But we'll see what he does with it.
It seems like he's doing absolutely fine right now in terms of the health that he's keeping. So perhaps that's why he feels he can go for something like this.
Yeah, it's a Spectre Oracle, right? That's probably what it is. He's like, it's fine. I don't need regen in this lane. They're not going to kill me.
Does have the raindrops because he expects the harass coming out from an Oracle, right? Especially once he hits that level 3. But
it'll offset that harassment that Oracle would provide, but everything else is not that important. So he's just going to cut the wave with the level 3 Scorched Earth, knowing he's very safe. The only other thing you got to worry about when you do this is the enemy mid rotation. And with Mirana rotating mid to kill the catapult, and Kunkka only being level 6, Tavo's pretty darn safe here, so he's just going to go Midas right after. Angel's also going to get good last hits in the meantime, but looks like this is now going to open up space for Mirana to be flexible here. And this is when Theolacor is going to realize, hey, my Ancients are blocked.
DD, as he already has a sentry ward on him too, so if he wants to try to plant it, in fact, that's exactly what he does. Cleans it up nice and easily, and protects the rune here for his Leshrek.
I wasn't able to spawn it, but it's alright. Ring of Health is on Axe. He's very close to his Vanguard now, 150 gold away from that. But his net worth is not looking amazing. He's sitting about middle of the pack. But once he gets Vanguard, things will accelerate. Not a huge amount of stacks just yet, but he'll get there.
I mean, they have to be careful because they're stacking the Ancients over here on the side of the Dire. If Mirana does any sort of scouting or whatnot, they could easily try to steal those away from the side of Unknown. That's the only dangerous bit about making these stacks when there is an Axe in the game, of course.
Well, with that said, though, they actually do have an okay way to clear Ancient. So with the Spectre rushing the naked Blade Mail, she's going to get out of time, especially with maxed out Dispersion as well. This is a decent way to clear the stacks. And Kunkka is another great one. A lot of physical damage cleave. So together, they should be able to deal with these Ancients before Axe ends up finding them.
Leshrac taking his own little stack over here as well. As they continue to just farm up and shove out lanes. Pretty quiet though, honestly. Usually, you know, with the SA groups, depending on the game, of course, you see some pretty fast acceleration. But like in this game in particular, like you said, everyone just kind of wants to stand back. They want to just farm up, and they'll get there eventually.
And here's the tower pressure that we expected from the Dragonite. Hits 6, starts pressuring. Here's first stun, second stun. Looking a little iffy for Phoenix, but he should have a
I think
dive.
he's okay. He's got the Icarus dive if needed. He's got a couple stick charges too. Just throws out some of these flame spirits here. Gonna juke around the trees here from Wish. Swoop out forward, try to clean it up. LSA does come through though, so Wish gets himself a nice kill. Stabile teleporting on in. He's cleaned up this creep wave. Wish does have to be a little bit careful here. Stabile goes around the corner. 40R finds the kill on Shesed while this is going on. LSA connects over onto Stabile here in the bottom lane. And Tavo here, he's X'd, he's boated, and he's a big tanky demon with a toughness aura, but it's not gonna be enough because Angel, he does tick down a bit. I think he's still, are they gonna
God,
deny
he's
him?
so
They need to
close.
deny him here. No,
Bottles
he's
him
actually
just in case.
right on the cusp. Oh my gosh.
That was a bit of a bummer for SG Esports. Using Doom, not killing the Spectre. They're going to X him back to base, and they gave him his bottle as well, so he's pumping bottles. So when he comes back from this X, he's fully healed, resumes laning, and Kunkka gets a full bottle. So great rotation from Robo Z to offset that a bit. Tavo's still trying to finish Midas, but dying there was a couple hundred short, so that's going to slow him down a bit here. Little Edict damage mid.
The player does get tossed out. Not connecting, but again, some tower pressure being placed down.
And Axe still
That looks
AFK jungling basically at this point, so stack's not cleared yet. But net worth wise, Axe is looking fine at the moment.
You know who's not looking fine is Theolacor here, because he's looking real dead as he walks into 3 heroes over on the side of Unknown. And everybody else just going to back off, continue farming. You can see, too, that 4DR has invaded the jungle over here. Doing a little bit of scouting, just wants to get some of these camps himself. Does have to be careful. They have the Blade Mail online here for Angel, so 4DR has to be careful. He might actually tick down if he's not. Oh, he's going to die here. But Tavo's here. Tavo, he wants to go in, but they don't manage to follow up. The X marks the spot, comes out with the boat here from Robo Z. Tavo wanted that kill on Angel. He sat so very low, but he just cannot seem to get the damage off, and he's trying to run. He's very, very swift, but he's not swift enough. Arrow does come in now from Theolacor, but that's about all he can do as he's forced to back off.
Radiant's bottom tower
That's a big mistake from our Leshrac. I mean, he's playing in that area looking for Spectre. He just must not have checked items or something. I'm confused. I mean,
I'm
this is a really
surprised.
fast blade mail to get it this quick, by all means, but he looked flustered when that blade mail came out, and boy, was that a lot of damage. I mean, his dispersion was maxed pretty quick, but I don't think anything there was that weird, other than the fact that Lesh felt confident looking for Spectre and finding him, and he threw out all his spells. You gotta, I think in hindsight, the best thing to do, pump fake the Diabolic, turn on your ulti, pump fake Diabolic Edict, get him to turn Blade Mail on, you turn off your ulti, then you just try to walk with him, and then you kill him afterwards once the Blade Mail ends. That would be the best way to do it, if possible, but it doesn't work out, and on the Unknown side of the map, Dragonite takes the tier 1 tower in the safe lane, and now that's 2 deaths on Doom. He does have his Midas, but this is, I believe, the beginning of his Midas. It's coming out pretty late compared to what it could have been.
Just a little bit of misplays. And I wonder sometimes, too, you know, we talked about the fact that this is on the pro servers, and they are a Brazilian team. Tavo's been having particular difficulties with the ping if he's starting to, not necessarily get tilted, but just, you know, struggling a little bit mentally here in terms of, you know, staying calm, keeping cool, and sometimes, you know, that extra pressure can cause you to make more mistakes as well.
It's got to be frustrating for sure, because there's going to be times where, you know, maybe he was a fraction of a second away from an auto attack, or he cancels an attack moving on a little vulnerable, but not the worst. So defending an observer ward here, or sentry at least, kills the ward. That's going to make it a lot harder for SG to pressure this tier 1. They also don't spot the Kunkka rotating over now. They're going on Doom
Yes, they
again here.
are. Again, the X with the boat, plus Sacred joining top. They have plenty of stuns. The arrow comes in. It's not enough to save Tabo, though, because they do have the Purifying Flames from Chested.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So
That was
they
such a
will
good play.
take down the Doom yet again and make their
Another X mid.
rotation immediately over here to this mid lane. Fordyar, the Han comes out with the Blade Mail. This Leshrac is just absolutely shredded.
Such a cool build from RoboZ. He just builds also Blade Mail Rush against the Leshrac, knowing that, okay, yeah, it's perfect on Spectre, obviously, but it works pretty good on Kunkka too. Raw damage, armor, and the fact that he can reflect either Scorched Earth damage, Axe Spin damage, Leshrac DPS. It's a good game for Blade Mail. And now it just gives him this massive solution against Lesh. If they just X Lesh ever, Lesh is going to have a bad time. At least until he finishes his Yule Scepter. Lesh feels completely vulnerable in this game. So even though it, on paper, gave them the opportunity to set pressure and push towers, we have not seen it yet. It's just been unknown winning these skirmishes. 8 kills to 1. They've got a 1k advantage, and they're the ones taking towers.
Smoke play coming out now from the side of RoboZ and Wiz as they're making their way over here to this top tower. Totally undetected as they're going to try to wrap around. They might run into Theolacor here. Yeah, they'll throw out the X, land the Torrent. An arrow does come out, though, so they can't follow up with the LSA immediately. But you know what? They've got the Laguna Blade. It's no problem. Down will go Theolacor, and poor Tavo just hiding here in the tree lines. Absolutely does not want to get murdered again by the side of Unknown.
I really like the build that Lino went this game as well. It's not uncommon to get like 2 Light Strike array in the laning stage, but he just straight up maxed the skill out all the way. Lowers the cooldown to 7, ups the stun duration to 2.5, and when you have these great setups between like Kunkka and Dragonite, it makes a lot of sense to just be like, I'm going to be the stun that is always there and is very powerful. So a little bit less burst damage, but it's not really that much less. You know, he's losing like 70 magic damage per spell. So kind of a cool build alteration, and Unknown's really aiming to win this game with these smart itemizations and skill builds.
It's interesting to think about the fact that, you know, they have a Leshrac over on the side of SG, so I assume that they would be taking a majority of these towers because it's just a little bit faster than Dragon Knight taking down buildings usually early on into the game. But they really have figured this draft out over on the side of Unknown. They know what SG wants to do, and they've come up with some really elegant solutions for it. So Smoke will break over on Sacred as he goes, pops the dragon form, has that blink, will jump immediately over onto Theolacor again, and, you know, targeted stuns, man. They're a good thing. They help you win games, and they'll help you get kills.
Yeah, and getting these level advantages is so good. Level 12 on Kunkka, his X marks the spot, got maxed out ASAP. It's so good against Mirana as well. Pain stuns against this Mirana 4. They're ready for what SG was going to pick, and everything's looking good. 2 tier 1 towers already dead. Now the most important one, the mid tower, is about to fall, and there is nothing they can do to stop this. I mean, they've got Axe farming towards Manta, but his net worth is fine. Just fine. Not that great. Doom's net worth is also just not that amazing. So it's the opposite of what we expected pressure-wise, and which bodes really badly for SG as the game continues. Unknown has the counterplay. They have the best late game carry. They've got the item solutions that counter Leshrac. Game's looking rough for SG right now.
Yeah, this entire time that we've been seeing these towers take it, and you know, this is one thing that I love about Pakaz as well, is that he's playing Spectre. Spectre is not a hero that, you know, is super active generally, you know, just wants to sit in his jungle, hit creeps, but because Pakaz is, as Jenkins has said before, a maniac, as he likes to say, he likes being involved in these kills. You saw earlier he had the haunt because they saw this Leshrac that was just over in the mid lane and was like, you know what, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I want to kill him. And they immediately jump on him. Did kind of have Fordyar kind of wander into his paw earlier on, right? Because it was like the situation where a cat falls asleep with his paw open, then the mouse kind of wanders in, and when the Leshrac walked over and the blade mail was completed. But, you know, this is a Spectre that's active. This is also a Spectre that has the top net worth right now, 8.8k currently.
It's very uncommon at this point in the game. Usually Spectre's lagging a little bit behind the enemy carry and the enemy mid by a little bit. But being top net worth by this much of an advantage, he's got 3 kills, 1 assist. That's why. He's won his laning stage. He basically got a solo kill on the Leshrac earlier on. His game position is looking so good. Manta style almost online. That means he's going to be able to get solo kills. Here's another go on Tavo.
Yes, there is indeed another go here on Tavo, but
Invisibility, invincibility. Everybody knows.
thank goodness for Theolacor, he's saying to himself right now.
Yeah, that was a dangerous one. He's got Blink on Tava, though, so he could go for some grabs. Aether Lens already finished for Lina. Gonna make it even easier for her to follow up on stuns without getting out of position. 3 points in Dragon Slave now, so her earlier skill build isn't punishing her at all. She's got huge nuke damage at the moment.
Look at the way that they're collapsing. They went through the high ground over back down to the low. Tavo, again, like we said, he's got the blink, he's got the war stomp. You do have the egg online too, Stabby. Okay, the stomp forward immediately. Doom comes out over onto Sacred. Nice LSA though. They'll follow up with the Laguna Blade, and you have the haunt, but the save comes
Great
out
arrow.
over on the back line. So the arrow coming through. Nice egg
Oh
over
my
top
God.
side of Unknown. They'll turn it back around. They get the kill over on Angel. They'll get their kill on Robozy. KJ, of course, will fall for this, but the casualties have been thrown out, as also they're gonna lose 4DR, and they're going right back, and again they won't go Stabby. He's getting a couple nice spins here. He's got to be so incredibly careful as he goes for that call, just to give himself that little bit of extra armor.
Is under attack.
I can't believe it even went that well. I watched Lestrak walk in, spells a blaze, and throws a stun out. I'm like, there's a blade mail right there. He pops Yules right before he dies. That gives him a little bit of extra oomph, but unfortunately sticks around a little bit too long, and Lena's able to clean him up. But I thought it was going to go way worse than that. They killed the Spectre at least. Spectre got 2 kills in the interim, though. Picks up the Doom kill and the Mirana kill. So was that really great? Yes, kind of. Axe gets the
He
kill
does
back.
sound sold on it.
I mean, he finishes his Manta. Axe, if Axe can like have a monster mid game, then this can mean something. But that was them using Doom, revealing like Doom Blink. Like that's the timing for them, and their opponents keep stacking up their net worth advantage. So the game looks scary. Looks real scary for SG right now.
Do you think there was just too much pressure, knowing it's like, okay, we have our blink, we have Doom, like let's make something happen here? Oh, Theola Core, he walks right into 2 of these heroes, now 3. Sacred just shows up at the last minute, gets himself a kill. He's looking for anything else that he can possibly grab as the side of SG. They are going to retreat here. But do you think that the Dragon Knight, was that a bit of a misplay there, that they jumped on him with the Doom? Especially after, you know?
I think their reasoning was that they didn't see Kunkka, and then the next best hero to go on would be Dragon Knight for setting up fights. If they doom Dragon Knight, it's not easy for Lina to land stuns, and Kunkka basically has like 1 or 2 setups per engagement. So I think the goal was take Dragon Knight out, we ignore him because we can't kill him anyways, but if he's doomed, he's basically useless. So then we can
Okay.
kill the rest of the guys. I think that was the plan.
That makes a lot of sense when you consider the amount of lockdown that they have.
He's the
coming out
easy
here.
start. All right, BKB on the menu for Lestrak. That's going to allow him to play Dota once again. And he's actually not that far away. He's 1,900 gold towards his next 2 pieces. So 1,100 more gold, and he's in a great place. His damage output at the moment is excellent, but he keeps killing himself with against all this blade mail damage. So life is hard. BKB's up for Kunkka as well. So even though blade mail's about to be countered, he just doesn't care. He's going to turn BKB on, and he's going to do whatever he wants in these fights. Assuming he's not doomed.
I have to say the item timings and like the itemization coming out from Unknown has just been super on point. Just the way that they have their flow chart, so to speak, of how they want to play this game is really just impressive.
It is a big item, neutral item drop though. The Nether Shawl, one of the best neutral items in the game in the right circumstances. It's going to give a lot of magic resistance to Lestrak and some spell amp, but most importantly, if he's dealing damage to a blade mail target and that gets reflected to him, he's going to be able to reduce that damage with Nether Shawl that he receives back. So it will be very strong.
I have a big
At least I
rotation
think
here
that's how it
towards
works.
the top area. We do have the blink completed now for Axe, so he's going to be able to participate a little bit more comfortably in these fights because he does have the Manta completed as well. And of course, the Shard is now queued up, so this will be interesting to see how the next couple minutes go. But on the flip side of that, you see that Unknown, they think, okay, we've got this just total control of this bottom half of the map. Let's start putting pressure on this tower. Let's make them come fight us, and if they don't, we'll very easily just take their buildings.
Yeah, so far I haven't been extremely impressed with Instabile's micro. At least that illusion, he missed one. He's moving them around to where his opponents might be, but I would like to maybe see him cutting creep waves if possible. It's not always easy to do this. You need to be in the right place on the map because they only last so long. But if he keeps cutting creep waves, it would give himself a lot of net worth, and he would help make sure that Unknown can't easily engage on them. But because they have Dragonite and other farmed heroes, they can push buildings pretty readily right now. So even if they cut 2 waves, their opponents can still pressure the other ones, but I don't know. they need to buy time. It's really, really important right now. And accelerating farm, getting your BKB timings up is so mandatory so that Unknown doesn't just run you over in this upcoming rush fight. But on the bright side, the net worth that Unknowns have, it's been pretty static the last 5 or so minutes. So it's not looking terrible for him.
I think it's really interesting that you mentioned Costabile not necessarily being super efficient in terms of his microing, because this is a person who plays a lot of Terrorblade, one of the best Terrorblades, I think, in the South American region. And he actually gave a mini masterclass to Bowie, where he was saying, you know, you have to be so efficient with the way that you use your illusions, because you have to be making space for yourself. Because typically, you know, in the pub scene, you're the person who has to make things happen. So
A lot of stuff going on. So could be discussing movements, could be talking about what to do. There are a lot of shards bought just now. They're looking for a fight, see if they can get a grab. Axe Illusions in the middle to spot things out. They got shard on Kunkka, by the way. Just purchased right after his BKB. Shard on Axe is ready. So Axe can definitely kill one guy. To get disable follow-up especially.
who is the target, though, I guess is the question. Because look how tightly they're playing over on the side of Unknown as well. They've done their own smoke play, figuring, okay, no one's showing in lanes. That means that either we're going to get ganked or we need to protect our Spectre, basically.
But
So
the one
they're
hero
sweeping
that's...
across the map, and they're going to go high ground, I think.
Ooh, yeah, kind of looks like that. Ooh, smoke almost breaks. Alright, it does now, but they don't see
Zone 4 from
Alright,
Sacred.
it's
Gonna
good for
reveal.
SG.
X marks the spot. Rolled up with the LSA. They blow up the Olacore instantly, so won't have any Mirana to throw out any arrows here. Stabile doesn't seem like he wants to go in on this.
Could have been much worse for sure. Catch a different core instead, like an actual core instead. They are trying to play around this. All right, they're going in. Good fight.
See Robo Z. They try to jump in. They follow up here. Tavo, he's gotten the Doom off, but they get the save over onto Robo Z. So Chested will fall shortly after KJ. Tavo is next to go down here. So Robo Z continues to fight here with Costabile, and it does eventually fall because it's just too much damage. But the LSA over here, okay, Lina goes down. They'll follow up with the Leshrek, and now Costabile is just trying to man fight Angel and Sacred, but he's got to be very, very careful here because he doesn't have
Arrow
the follow up.
misses.
Although Theolacor coming back in again, like you said, arrow missing, not going to feel very good right now. Leap forward here from Theolacor, trying to just see if he can get any more vision on Angel. Stabile sitting very low. The blink is going to be off cooldown in a minute, but he's going to opt to just go and farm up this camp instead. Did get buyback out of KJ as well during that fight.
Not bad in hindsight. It looked a little bit rough there for a moment there for SG after Axe committed to the Spectre, but he pops one. It's like, okay, there's no way Axe wins this fight. But hey, they started the engagement, dooming the Kunkka. Kunkka got 0 abilities off, including Tidal Wave, including Ghost Ship. All those things would have helped a lot. BKB on Leshrek was really useful too. Hit the backline. They killed the Lina, but unfortunately Tavo died a little bit too easily. He's missed his BKB timing. He's got it now, but he would have loved to have BKB in that fight, because then after he initiates, Lina just stands there going like, oh, what do I do? Can't do anything right now. Instead, Lina gets a full rotation off on Doom. Spectre is able to clean up Doom as he retreats, and then he doesn't get like multiple rounds of War Stomp or 2 rounds of Scorched Earth damage into the engagement. So could have been cleaner for SG if they were just a little bit farther ahead on Tavo. But he's had 5 deaths this game. He's been pressured heavily and targeted heavily by the enemy team, so it's hard to hit your timings in those circumstances.
Is
They're gonna have to
indeed.
Torn again for this. Okay, apparently
And then
Tidal Wave also
wave.
gives vision. The wave pool is active, guys.
Excellent. Just in time for summer. Stabile teleporting out. Tavo also hiding in this tree line here. Doesn't have the TP for another 19 seconds. He's got to be very cautious because you can see that Unknown was sweeping up towards that area, but looks like they've lost interest. KJ going now to just get a easy D ward here, and the Kunkka was considering going forward, but isn't going to be able to land that torrent without the vision, so...
I mean, so much of the game right now is controlling this tri-camp area because it unlocks Roshan. So if Unknown knows that they have perfect vision in that area, then it's going to be so much easier for them to slap Roshan down. But look at the net worth of Lina right now. It's actually incredible. He's matching the Kunkka's, or sorry, the Dragonite's farm. He's got 2,000 gold to go until he has Ags. That's an Aether Lens, Yules, and an Ags as a 4-position hero. He's 5-1-9, having a great game. He's hit 129 creeps. He's cleaning up the map space that has been left on the table, basically, by some of the other players on Unknown, and it's going to pay off big time. Because he's going to buy Ags, he's going to just... Oh, here they go.
They went in with the Haunt, but they have the Moonlight Shadow, so they'll be able to pick up the Aegis. So they'll go over onto Angel. The BKB coming out from 40R now. He's mad, but he's just running forward against all these other heroes while the rest of his team is not there yet. The BKB pop from Sacred means that it's not a problem. Wish was protected by the Oracle. Over on the back lines here, Robo Z was already doomed. They're going to try to clean him up and take him out of the equation. Doesn't look like they have quite enough damage, though. All right. Angel finding the cleanup over onto 4DR. Robo Z ticking down. Is it going to be enough? Yes. They do manage to take down the Kunkka. And they're going back in for round 2 as they do see Tavo. Arrow gets tossed out. It does not connect. And they don't have anything to save Tavo here other than that War Stomp. So he's going to try to run away. They throw out the nuke, trying to just burst him down fast enough. And they do indeed have it. They'll find the kill on Tavo. And Theolacor now is just going to try to hide in these trees. Looks like Wish has no idea he's there. Otherwise, he'd break them with the LSA and be able to teleport. Or cancel the teleport, rather.
I'm a little surprised that they forced the engagement. I mean, Roche was... you know, it popped, it seemed over, and Lesh thought that the better move would be to BKB and run in. And yeah, they got some kills, but they also lost more heroes. They didn't get close to touching Aegis, of course, so I don't know. And now their abilities are on cooldown. Doesn't Unknown just push this advantage with the Aegis, now pressuring the tier 2 tower? Hey, they're going to slow down the Spectre a little bit. Catapult gets arrowed. Ooh, do they have the mana for this? They want to go for the backline. He's aiming for Lina. He's going to go in any second here. Only you can see the whole team.
Dasher is picked up. Yeah, they go and they grab Wish immediately, just trying to blow up this Lina, and they don't have... Oh, yes, the Yules. He's actually still alive. They go right back in. They don't have enough damage to be able to take down KJ. As 4DR now, he was doing a lot of damage to the cost, but this Flame Mail is absolutely shredding him. They need just a little bit more damage. Can they do it in time? The BKB comes out from Angel to be able to go, and they managed to take down the Spectre. 4DR's BKB, and now Angel back up, but Aegis has been burnt. BKB coming out now from Tavo. Throw out another wave over here on Theolacor. Perhaps he has stayed just a little bit too long as they'll land the Torrent and they'll land the kill.
Looked pretty good there, but that Glimmer Cape keeps the Lina alive. Oracle was letting him die. Didn't put much to save him, but he's able to stay alive with the Yule Scepter and the Invis, and Axe doesn't get the chop, so they trade Aegis out for a lot of big heroes, and now they're just going to take a Rax here, it looks like. A Doom in 10 seconds, though.
I mean, you gotta feel really bad when you jump on probably the squishiest person on the team. Oh man, this tidal wave is doing work. LSA connects, followed up with the splitter. Tavo's just dead. There's no chance for that Doom coming off because he doesn't have buyback, Purge.
Yep, and we'll see if they push this to a second set. They're not gonna. They're gonna play a little safe here. Range Creep's gonna finish off the barracks, and they'll recontrol the map. A lot of heroes respawning. They had Doom. They don't want to mess around, so keep their gold advantage. Don't give their opponents any catch-up kills, any catch-up levels.
Oh my god, this Lina.
Yeah, and there's like no way you don't buy the shard at some point too, right? Because you can land a BKB Laguna Blade on multiple carries.
Arrow connecting over to Angel. They have the egg, they've got the call, they've got all the illusions, and they finally get the kill on Angel. BKB coming out now from Sacred. He doesn't want to be there any longer. So a nice gank coming out from the side of SG. But what I was referring to earlier, Purge, we talked about, you get a BKB, and then what does Lina do? Well, Lina just laughs at you now and then hits you with the Laguna Blade still because she's got her axe completed.
Yeah, her spell amp is not incredible just yet, but with Psychic Headband, her cast range is so good. This is like the most, I love playing Lina like this. So when you have a good game like this, you have a lot of items, feels like you have impactful utility at any moment. On the bright side, with that Spectre kill, which was huge on the SG side, they must have spotted Spectre lingering to finish Ancients or something like that. As a result, they moved everybody up there. They get that pick off, and now they get some map control. And this is the first big mistake the Unknowns made in this match. See if they can also catch Dragonite. Oh, the Breed Fire happens to catch him. Axe spots him, maybe?
Yeah, it goes for the call, gets the spins, followed up with the arrow. Everything they need to slay Davion the Dragonite. And now they'll turn this right into a tower push here on the side of SG.
It feels good to finally watch SG be able to play Dota this game. This is what their lineup is supposed to do. Get the first disable, however it comes, land an arrow follow-up, and then it's like that just, you have 10 seconds to wail into this guy. So as long as they're making good moves and they're not always spotted when they're rotating from lane to lane, they just bought themselves another 50 seconds. And in the meantime, Unknown is sitting back. This was like 5,000 net worth they lost, all because of this first Spectre kill and now the second one. And they're laying the groundwork for follow-up kills. They're placing deep wards. They're pushing out side lanes. They're going to take shrines back to get some more levels. This is great. SG is getting a place back in this game. It's still looking dangerous because, again, they don't have the typical late game carry, but Axe's net worth is looking sick, and at some point, Doom could transition to an Axe.
Looks like he's got the Shivas queued up currently. We'll be going for that, but being able to kite will come in handy, specifically against this particular lineup that they're throwing against them. BKB queued up now for Angel. He did pick up the Skull Basher earlier, and we saw a couple of those little hits, but it does seem like the survivability is becoming a little bit harder because they have their own forms of just single target lockdown coming out from the side of SG, and if they're able to get those off, things become very, very difficult for Angel, who does want to, you know, is farming closer now with his team, but before obviously was thinking, okay, you know, I can always haunt in to join the fight. Well, you can't haunt in to join the fight if the fight comes to you, so it's nice to see the way that Unknown is now shifting to play around the Spectre and be closer.
Yeah, they understand what's at stake. Like, despite Spectre being such a tanky hero, there is some danger in this. Kunkka shifting to and continuing to be more of a spellcasting hero, going for Axe, but here comes the fight potentially. They see him.
Doom immediately over onto RoboZ. They jump forward there and they'll get the save off. There's the Sunray followed up with a nice egg as they're throwing out spells over on the back line. The BKBs do get popped, but look at this damage coming out of RoboZ. I don't think they're going to be able to keep him alive here. Yes, he indeed does pop as the rest of the side of Unknown now running for their lives. Sacred, he popped the dragon form. He thought that they were going to fight, but with that intense hit here coming out from the side of SG, they change their minds and they just run away.
He's just feeling so confident right now. They know that if they doom the Kunkka, there just isn't that much team fight coming from Unknown. Like, the value of Dragonite is pressuring lanes, being tanky, being the first guy that stuns in a team fight. But in these big team fight situations, Dragonite one stun on a guy, it doesn't mean almost anything. Yeah, okay, it's going to set up a disable for Lina or something, but in these circumstances, the guys jumping in on top of Dragonite and breaking his Blink Dagger are going to have BKBs active. So then DK looks around and says, okay, I got to walk away or look for support. And if your supports don't make mistakes and give them that easy setup, then Unknown says, well, we could haunt this, but, like, it's not looking good. So, I mean, they even burned Oracle ulti and everything, but the damage was overwhelming. So they get another pick and buy their team another like 40 seconds to play the map. So SG's fighting their way back into this game.
I think one thing that it's very necessary, I believe, is that you have the Oracle has opted to pick up an Aeon Disc, and they did manage to delay it a little bit because they got the jump on the Courier and one of the fights down in the bottom area. But now it's going to be just a little bit more difficult, and Chesed should always be able to get his spells off. At the very least, you know, try to throw out the False Promise, keep a core alive. But the problem is, once that Aeon Disc pops off, it's going to be so incredibly difficult for the person who's been false promised because they need to have these follow-up heals, and they won't have it if he's forced, you know, try to reposition or whatnot, or they, you know, manage to stun him or whatever. So just very interesting to see how the Oracle is fitting into play here and the value of it too.
Yeah, in terms of Kunkka, false promising Kunkka doesn't feel that good, basically. And then maybe another reason that SG is dooming him. Because if they doom Spectre, even with like an Axe potentially, Spectre would still do stuff because he's building right click. But Kunkka being Spellcaster, which is not uncommon these days, if they doom him, none of his stuff comes out, and it has so much team fight impact. And then if you Oracle ult him, it's like, okay, well, he's delayed and dying, but he's still not doing damage. So he just makes an obvious doom target. It just means that not only is Kunkka's spells not doing anything, it also means Oracle's spells don't do anything, because you're not going to save the Kunkka if you have that much damage output. If Axe calls on him with Manta, if Leshrak's in the area casting spells too, like, there was no doubt in my mind that Kunkka was dead there. So maybe this is the secret to beating their draft apart. Jump in, find the targets, pop BKB, doom Kunkka, throw everything on him, and Unknown can't stop it. He's going to die. So here's some counterplay you could buy back afterwards and take a fight. Or ideally just like don't let Kunkka get doomed right away. Make it harder. Or just like Lincoln's possibilities later, but Lincoln's isn't really going to make Kunkka strong enough. He needs to buy this Axe instead. So, but they definitely need the team fights to feel less straightforward. And the dewarding and the observer wards and how SG's been playing is just giving them a great window back in this game. The game's looking pretty even, surprisingly.
Yeah, you know, it looked very rough for the side of SG early on because they did itemize so incredibly well, just trying to deal with the Leshrac. Not only did the Spectre pick up the Blade Mail, but also the Kunkka, and it really kind of hampered them, so they weren't able to get what they wanted done. They weren't able to take towers early. It was Unknown who was setting that pace, but now that the Axe is starting to become unlocked, starting to come online, we're really starting to see a problem now for the side of Unknown. Does this mean it's over? Absolutely not. You know, they have a Spectre. This still plenty of time for them to get bigger and whatnot, but they have to be careful in the way that they approach these fights as they move across the map, for sure. Nice double damage rune is available over here in the bottom area, though. Looks like Spectre's making her way over to pick that up. And Unknown is smoked and looking for anyone who's going to approach these creeps.
The smoke
Thanks,
breaks is going to be
Mel.
huge here. DK's
Yeah,
going to break
KJ?
first, will he blink?
Jumps
He goes
in,
for
they
it.
follow up with the Haunt. They'll jump over onto Constabule
catch.
immediately. With that double damage, too, they've got the
Ain't stun.
LSA. They throw it out, and they have the damage now with the Laguna Blade. As they'll turn their attention over to 4DR, and he is just ticking down. Too much damage being reflected right back at him, and also just being thrown at him in general. So a very nice strike here coming out from the side of Unknown as they manage to blow up the core and the mid player over on SG.
Yeah, it was a little sloppy the way they did it, but because it was very clear what they were trying to do. Smoke breaks, Haunt is pressed, that gives you a blink target. But I think the DK was getting impatient there. He pops his ulti, he's standing there visible. He's like, I could be spotted right now. I gotta go in. He blinks in. Luckily, he ends up finding the Axe, which was huge. He starts the first stun. Axe doesn't get BKB off. They follow up stun. Axe just dies. Axe is like one of those heroes that needs to jump in on a target. If he gets gone on, the engagement is just very, very hard instead. And now the game just looks opposite way, right?
Yeah.
You gotta remember, they got that Rax earlier, and here's the second one. Glyph is gonna be popped, but they got 30 seconds. SG was not expecting to get stomped that hard in that engagement.
And they don't have the greatest way of being able to clear out some of these waves that are getting forced in safely, so they have to sit back here. They are going to have the Axe and the Leshrac back up in about 10 seconds each, but the damage has been done. They take a tower
So
and they
much.
take a lane of Rax.
And it's the best two Raxes to have as the dire side. Like, the Tri-Camp is already... It's where SG wants to hang out if they're contesting Roche. And now that both sets of Rax there are gone, that means it's difficult for SG to push out those creep waves. Those are the ones that are going to surround Roshan. So, I mean, I guess if they push out the lanes and they control the Tri-Camp, it's fine. But this means that every time that you're trying to get to this side of the map, it's going to feel dangerous. It's going to take time. So if you do lose heroes like this, it's going to take a lot of time to reset and get control of this area. So here's Sacred sitting. He's going to try to break smokes here. We'll see if they can get a catch. It's very little vision for SG. They're going to have to... Yeah, they back up. This is a good choice. If they ran straight into there, their smoke was going to break. They were going to get spotted, and it was not going to work out. So they're going
This
to
is so hard.
big wraparound instead. And look at the drawing. Unknown knows. There's
Yeah.
2 ways they're coming. And this ward's going to be huge. It spots them.
Turns jump forward from Tavo, immediately jumping over onto Robo-Z again, and they get the spell off, though, to keep him alive. Just a little bit longer, Sunray comes out. BKBs are popped, and they're going to immediately turn over, try to get
Oh,
this
the stun!
egg. They don't manage to do it in time, though, as they find the kill. They take down Sacred, they take down Robo-Z. Sabile here, waiting patiently. Angel, Sunray coming out over onto Tavo, trying to keep him alive, but this blade mail, it does so much against this Leshrac.
Good
More
arrow.
buybacks coming out because he wants to go back in. He gets a couple of these spins, but he's got to be so incredibly careful because the damage coming out from Angel is so incredibly strong right now. The Olacore too, trying to jump
call.
back over onto the back lines. Can they get the kill? Yes, they'll be able to take out the Olacore and Chesed. Chesed buying back Angel. He's still alive. He's still fighting for his life as these heroes, they just keep trying to poke away at him, but they can't seem to do it. As the boat comes in, it will get the kill on Constabule. And now Tavo left behind, X'd into place. Down goes the Doom, and down goes the Phoenix as well. No buyback on anyone but
Oh,
the
they call
Phoenix.
it.
They call GG. Unknown
they-
taking this first game.
That was it was good. A pretty sick game. Fun to watch. Cool how SG took that last fight. They got the ward in the less likely dewarded spot. They got the Doom off on the Kunkka like they wanted to. They followed up. The egg almost died. Tavo landed a great war stomp to make sure the egg went off. But ultimately, the power of Spectre was way too much. And they just tanked all the way through all the harassment. Even like the Doom Inferno Blade shard was really good at like locking down Spectre, stunning for like 1.8 seconds on like a 4-second cooldown or whatever. That was a great way to limit Spectre's damage. But Unknown's advantage that they catapulted from in the early game, and then after that big fight later on where they got that pick off, that like solidified the game for Unknown. So absolutely deserving of that victory.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the way that they did their itemization. Not only, just in general, having the Spectre against the Leshrac is very good, but then also, picking it up over on their Kunkka as well, and then later on, adjusting because they know the timings are off with BKBs, everything. They just played very, very cleanly. You can tell they're hungry, but we are going to take a short break, guys, and when we come back, we'll have the post game analysis.